Thank God I can do magic, everybody.
Shut up!
Oh, shit!
What's up, everybody? Come on in. It's Magic Method tonight. Very different type of a show for me. I'm used to doing evening hour. Well, we got a Magic Method tonight. Come on in, folks. Those of you who showed up are going to learn some crazy inside stuff on how a magician's brain works. Come on in. Let me get myself situated. Come on in. What's up, everybody? Greetings. Happy Wednesday. Normally, I'm here on a Monday. Cheers. Drinking root beer tonight. Lou Johnson in the house. All right, we got some magic people in here. Cool. Yeah, tonight's a Magic Method. For those of you new to this channel and to this show, this is Cardone Entertainment. I run, there are 4 shows I run off of this channel. This is one of the 4. I don't do this one as often. Evening Hour is the one I do, and I'm up to episode 102. This one, I think there's only... I don't have to kill... Yes, and as you can see, it's a chat show. If you're in here, please chat. I hope to God we got some magic people in here. I do have Lou Johnson. He's definitely a working magician. Cheers, Lou. I think you're going to like this. I'm going to do a lot of theory today. This is magic theory, and I'm going to assume people watching tonight are magicians. This is not a layman show. This is not me speaking to the beginner. This is somebody who knows a little bit about magic, whether you're a professional or not. Cindy, what's up, Cindy? Cheers. Yes. So I'm going to cut to the quick on this one. Normally, when I do my evening hours, I go through a series of things, but we're going to get in it quick. Before we do get into the magic chat, I'm going to be, well, first of all, I'm reviewing something tonight, a trick. We'll get to that. But first, if you're new to the channel, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and notify. I take donations, that's cool, but more importantly, I want you to subscribe. That's all, and tell your friends. I put a lot of thought into these episodes, and I promise good content. And donations, well, if you look in the description below, you will see a section for donating, the link to click on. It's in the description below. But yeah, donations are cool. I don't say no to them, because I perform full time. So this is Magic Method. And this is the channel, on my channel, my section where I teach magic. My theory and philosophy and tricks themselves. And if you go back and look, I have Magic Method 1 and 2. Those magic methods are... pretty informative, and there'll be little bits of it today where I mention some of the stuff from those episodes. But basically, I'm here to review a trick. And before we get to that trick, well, I'll tell you why I wanted to do this. I don't order magic tricks too often. Occasionally. Most of the time, if I'm spending money at a magic shop or a magic company, I'm buying a book. That's what I like. Whether it be a magic history book or a learning book, that's what I buy. As for tricks or equipment, I don't really need much. I've gone to the minimalistic route. I just need a pack of cards and borrowed quarters and some paper, and I can do an hour-and-a-half show. And I'm not kidding. I've whittled it down to a few bare-bonesy things that I really like. And hey, Future Monsters, what's up, brother? Future Monsters, you should follow this guy on Instagram. Your shirt has become, I'm not wearing one today, I usually am. Your shirt, I wore it for my rock show the other day at Bowery Ballroom. People love that shirt. I love that shirt. Thanks for joining. Yeah, anybody watching tonight, you're going to learn a lot about the deep stuff on magic. And I usually don't swear on these shows, but I might frickin' swear tonight. I get a little heated when I speak magic. So I ordered a magic trick, and I got it in the mail. And I usually don't order them. And I felt compelled to review the trick. And that's why we're here. You can probably tell by my tone of how I feel already. But, yeah. And it came from a reputable person who puts out material. Okay. I'm going to tell a little bit about me. And then a little bit of my theory. And then we're going to get into the actual trick review. I'm going to tell you what the trick was, what it did, and I'll show you the prop it came with, and we'll talk about it. And if you're a new magician, I really want you to listen to my thoughts and theory on the hows and the whys. Because I break everything down to a philosophy first and then build it back up. Bare bones, values, and philosophies. If you watch my other shows, you know, we'll be talking about Pez and root beer, and it quickly goes into philosophy. Why? Because it's all the same thing, right? So here we are, chatting magic, and for those of you that don't know me, Adam Cardone is my name. My performer name for magic is Cardone the Magician, or just Cardone. And I've been doing magic ever since I was a really little kid. I mean, really little, like 5 years old. And by the time I was in high school, I was working and doing shows for money. And I haven't stopped ever my whole life. I've been doing it full time since '02. That's kind of the year around there, full time. But I've been making a living as an entertainer pretty much my whole life. I mean, nonstop. So, under the blanket of being a magician, most magicians are either a corporate performer, a kid's show, a birthday party guy, a bar mitzvah guy, a trade show magician. They do trade shows, right? A lot of magicians, I would say most, are one of those types. And they stick in that ramification. I do all of the above. I've been doing all of the above my whole life. And I would like to say, I would bet, out of most performers on earth, I have one of the most varietied client lists than anybody. I do a show for preschoolers, a high school, a corporation, a bunch of rich guys, a bunch of poor guys, a bunch of people that don't speak English, a bunch of people that speak English. I do shows for 2 people, 2,000 people, 15,000 people. I've done them all. I've done shows for people that make laws. I've done shows for people that break the law. And everything in between. I enjoy it that way. And taking a simple magic trick, one trick, something very bare bones, and being able to do it for that whole group, the preschooler, the biker, and the businessman, and watching how they react for the last 35 years, I have insight on how this stuff works and what it means. And so I've done about 3,000 performances in my career as a magician. And that's including everything from stage to someone's living room, to a restaurant venue, to a catering hall, to an outdoor venue, and again, everything in between. So I've been doing it a long time. And I have some insight on not just what works, but what fits my style and character. So everything I'm saying tonight, if you're watching this and you're a magician, this is all my opinion. And I honestly could give a shit what your opinion is, but I will listen. I will. I will definitely listen, because if it changes my opinion, yeah, great. But at the end of the day, all of my things are just me. And it's coming from my experience, my data processor, and how it's processed everything, and survival. Me trying to stay alive, paying my bills, doing magic, and getting the maximum impact on the things I'm presenting. All the choices I made are what works and what doesn't work. That's all. Very simple. If it doesn't work, I don't do it. So there's certain types of tricks I don't like, but we'll talk about it today. Now, as for exposure goes, now, we have a thing in magic. First rule, don't tell the secret. So today, I'm going to do my best to withhold the secrets to this stuff. But at the same time, I'm going to be talking in magician lingo as much as I can. And if you can keep up with me, cool. If not, that's your problem. You're going to have to read a lot more magic books. And if I do end up revealing a secret, I'm not revealing it just to expose the secret. I'm teaching. And most magicians draw the line there. If you're just like, oh, hey, you want to know how that trick works? That's exposure. If I go, hey, I'm going to tell you how it works, and then I'm going to teach you how to do it, not exposure. It's very different. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Anybody, if you want me to repeat something or you have a question, that's what the chat's for. Throw it in there. And let me know if I'm sounding good and everything's working. Okay. Let's just get into this. Here's the trick. Well, first of all, I'll show it to you. Here it is. Ba-boom. It's called The Prophecy by Roberto Giobbi. And Roberto Giobbi is a Swiss magician who has won the 4Fs World Champion Close-Up Magic. And how I know Robert Giobbi, and most of you might if you're a magician, is he's famous for Card College, which is a series of books on how to get good at card magic. And I'll be honest, they're pretty good. They teach you a move and then what tricks it might be good for. They'll give you a trick to use that move in. That's the best way to learn magic. You'll hear me, well, you're right. I'm going to reveal some of it. Yeah, of course. So these books that he wrote, the reason why they're good is they teach magic like a jazz player would learn. Like, you learn the notes and then you go make your song, right? That's what his books are. They teach you a move. How to palm a card. Now, what do you need a card palm for? How do you use it? That's the part that is in the book too. He doesn't teach you how to get natural at holding. See, look, if I hold my hands like this, you get good at talking and moving your hands with a card palmed. You get good at the angles and how to move. So, oh, cool. Awesome, Future Monster. Well, you're going to learn a lot about magic psychology today. As I'm talking today, the people that aren't magicians, think at how it applies to the advertising agencies and the news and how things are spun. Think about that as I'm explaining how magic works. It'll be kind of fun. So Robert Giobbi's in the world of magic known as one of the better guys, sleight of hand and good thought behind every action. Everything he does is planned out perfectly. And if he does something in the trick, it's always with a reason. There's no having you do something that's awkward unless it actually means something. Right? So he's known for that. Well, about maybe 15 years ago, I saw a performance of this Roberto Giobbi. And within 2 minutes, I thought he sucked. I'm going to be honest. I realized that if he performed for 80% or 90% of the clients I performed for, he would fail miserably. And it made me think, well then, how did he get to where he is? Most of these guys that are professional, in my world, they're not professional. Meaning, yeah, they do magic shows for other magician types. in weird situations that aren't normal. They're not booking themselves out to the lay audiences where it's really you're in with the wolves and you don't know what you're getting. So here's an example, and this is why I didn't like his performance when I saw it. He's going to have somebody peek at a card. And I do this too. You look, I'm going to flip through and you peek at a card. Here, if somebody did it now, I'd say, here, say stop. You got it? Right? And then they have the card in their head. I go, look, you're not going to pick one. Just tell me when to stop and look at it. And if you don't like it, I'll do it again. I do it all the time. It's very done. So Roberto Giobbi, being very scholarly with his magic, decided that in his routine that I saw, this is the first time I ever saw him perform, the first thing he did is he walked out, he sat down, and he explained that he's going to have someone pick a card. But instead of choosing one, he's going to have one, just them think of one. And to help out, it's better that if they just do it randomly like that. He takes so long in explaining why he's doing it this way with the little, hey, tell me when to stop, that to me, everybody in the audience has got, not only are they bored, their red flags are going off. If you watch me do it, it's in and out, and they've already forgotten that it happened. It's gone. It's a non-point. You don't want to focus on it. It's just it's a moment that has to happen for the trick to happen, but it's not a moment to remember. So when I saw that, I was like, okay. It reminded me of a way of thinking that drives me nuts, and that is what I call clever thinking. It's the clever mind justifying things to satisfy your own ego. When in reality, it should be more the other way. Like, what are they thinking? Not what I'm thinking or feeling. I mean, of course, if I feel weird, it's not going to come off. So this is my first introduction to this guy other than the books. So I never, from that moment on, I was like, okay, he's a good thinker, writer guy, but in practice, his stuff to me wasn't that spectacular. Now, I've never watched him in a live theater or in a real walk-around setting. I saw a videotape, so I'll give him that. But every time I see him perform, he's sitting down at a table. And everybody else is sitting at a table. I've been doing magic for so long, I think I've only ever had one gig that's like that, and I actually didn't like it. I don't want to be their equal. I want to be above them a little bit. Why? Because that's partly how the tricks work. That's the real magic part. If I'm standing up and they're sitting down, I already have an advantage on a dominating effect on how influenced I can make things. I can influence them more. There's a venue in New York that does magic where they all sit at a table. I don't like it. I think I'm restricted. My arms are like this now, not like this. It changes everything. If I want to get, it's just weird. I don't like tables. And everybody knows you can drop stuff on your lap. They all know that. Anytime I see someone do a magic at a table, I swear people know this. Now, I'm going to mention something in magic people don't talk about. And it's called what the audience is thinking and too embarrassed to say. If you're watching this, has anybody ever seen Michael Lamar, the magician, who's pretty famous in the magic world, on David Letterman? Now, I like Michael Lamar. He's done a lot for magic. But when I saw him on David Letterman, I wasn't that into it. The first thing he did is he walked out and he said, David, I'm going to do 2 penetrations and a vanish. First of all, those are magic terms. Why are you saying that on TV? And when he said penetration, everybody laughed because it sounds dirty. It's like you didn't know that that was a joke. You can tell he didn't think of it as a joke. And I felt bad for him because I'm like, wow, you're that nerdy. You didn't realize that was going to get a laugh? And then he does the magic, great. And then he does this thing where he makes his cell phone disappear. And Dave goes, that's cool. Is that one of those things where when you stand up, your phone's going to fall on the floor? And the magician kind of went, yeah, maybe. He kind of laughs it off and moves on. That moment right there is exactly what I'm talking about. David said it out loud, but that's what the audience is thinking. So I'm always thinking, what are they thinking? And how do I cancel it out early without drawing attention, right? This is how I work. And I have a theory on how to do the secret stuff in magic so it works. Because you're doing it in a live situation. So Robert Giobbi puts out magic tricks, and this is the new one. It's $75. And like I said, I don't really buy tricks anymore. But for some reason, this compelled me because I already do a version of what this is. So for me, if I have a version of something I already do, I look for other similar types of things like it that might enhance my version. It might be a new ending, a new beginning, or a new way to accomplish the dirty work. It might not even be that. It might be the way they're getting the secret done is completely different than mine, but the plot, the story plot of the trick, the flow of it might be different. And I might use that, right? I didn't know that. David Letterman. I don't know. Maybe he did. I know Steve Martin did. And yeah, Steve Martin was a magic guy for a while. I don't know. I'll look that up. Letterman's famous for not being friendly with magicians, but over the years he got a little friendlier when their publicists started paying him. He used to have magicians on and shit all over them, and then when their fancy publicists were getting them on the show, he stopped, which is why I hate TV. So here's the trick. I'm going to explain it. A sitting magician, I guess the concept, Fallon, is like, you know, you're their equal at a table. You're a dinner guest at the table. But even then, I'm like, oh, here, I'm going to perform. I'm going to stand up, and you're sitting, and you can all see me. You can see that, you know, when I do this, you can see my whole body, you know? I don't get it. The whole sitting down at a table thing is very magicians performing for magicians. It's very magic castle, magic. I run from magic. I don't like magic. It's incestuous, and it's a stew of poetry for poets. I like magic for people, for the world, not for magicians. I could care less about magicians. And I could care less about the community or the art form itself. If all the magicians in the world died and I was the only one, that would be okay. You know, I remember hearing a lot of magicians be like, you know, when magic's on TV, it's good for the hobby and the art. And I'm like, no, it's not. The rarer it is, the better. The way better. If magic was never on TV, think about how valuable you would be. Think about that. So here's the trick. And you can go watch the demo. I was going to show the demo, and I'm like, yeah, just explain it. So he goes, look, I'm going to have you shuffle an invisible pack of cards. And he goes, here you go. Shuffle them. And he goes, oh, look, you shuffled the red from the black. And the person doing it goes, oh, yeah, I did, right? It's funny. And he goes, all right, now I'm going to have you take one. You want, you know, red, black, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, through a very simple process, they have a card. And he goes, all right, what is it? And they say the 4 of hearts, let's say. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start this over. The first thing he does is he goes, I'm very sorry. Let me start this over. I skipped an important part that makes this important. Okay? So, listen. And then there's some positive to this, and you're going to like this. So, the first thing he does, and you'll see why I was interested in this in a second. He goes, look, I have a wallet here. And he takes out his wallet, and he goes, in the wallet, there's an envelope with something in it. And it's the answer to a question I haven't even asked yet. So they're like, okay. And he goes, put that in your jacket. So he gives it to them to put in their pocket. Now, as watching this, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Anytime you give something to somebody to hold on to, that's always good. So they're holding his wallet, and he goes, all right, now, here's an invisible pack of cards, shuffle it, and they eliminate it down to 1 card. And he goes, what is it? And they go, the 4 hearts. And he goes, oh, wow. Okay, take out the wallet. Open it up. They open it up. After they open it up, he goes, look, there's 1 envelope, and in the 1 envelope, there's a card. Guess what it is? And they say, 4 of hearts. And it's the 4 of hearts. And then he puts it in the envelope and he gives it to them. Now, I'm sorry. He goes, I'm sorry. I'm telling you how my version is. He goes, what is it? And they say the 4 of hearts. And he goes, mine's the 3 of hearts. I was off by 1, but I knew I was because I wrote it on the back. And on the back, it says off by 1. And then he gives it to them in the envelope. Now, so he doesn't get the card, but the clever notion of him being off by 1 causes a little bit of a, ooh, you're off by 1. And then there's the whole like, haha, I knew it. I'm off by 1. Okay. Here's where I was interested as me watching. That I was like, okay. He immediately in the demo, he gives the envelope away. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That means the envelope's unprepared. And if it is prepared, he figured out a way to clean it up, which I'm curious. I'll pay money to see that because I have ways of doing it. I'm curious of this man's version. It uses a wallet. I knew right away it was a trick wallet. You can tell watching the video. So I'm like, oh, he's using a trick wallet. He's giving the envelope away. Oh, and he lets them open the wallet. I'm like, okay, pretty cool. Those are things that season the trick to make it a little better. It's a little more impossible. I'm into this. So I ordered it, and here it is. And I got it. I watched the video, the teaching video, because they all have a video. Hell Smog, what's up? Hello. Hello is a cool Guar record. And it came with the wallet and the props. And now I'm going to give you why I think this is pretty bad. And nobody's going to use this. Now, let me just say this. It says in the ad copy for the $75 trick that this performer uses it as his closer for his close-up show and his encore for his stage performance. That's big. If you're using it for the final trick of your show, it better be whoa, right? So he says that this is his secret pet trick. I think it literally says it's his one of 3 favorite tricks he's ever come up with. Now, let's talk about the style of trick it is. Because I have a version, and a lot of people do. The whole off by 1, the any card named, like name any card. And they go, you know, the 5 of diamonds. And you go, I have the 4 of diamonds. And then here it says, oh yeah, off by 1 or whatever. That whole concept, it was invented for a reason. It was invented because the off by 1 is part of the method. That's why. So the off by 1 isn't there just for theatrics, even though they make it look like that in the trick. You know? I know people that do mind reading tricks where they're off on purpose. You know, they're like, you know, they're thinking of a word. Let's say the word the audience member's thinking is toolbox. And the mentalist will be like, I'm thinking of a box and it's got sewing needles in it. What word? And they'll go toolbox and you go, wow, that was pretty close, right? They'll get close to make it look more believable. But this isn't like that. This is almost like a comedic thing, like a haha, off by 1 and I knew it. It's part of the method. If you think about it, and I won't say much, but if I'm off by 1 and I have this, it could have been the 3 or the 5. You see what I'm saying? So it opens it up a little bit of what you can have. All right. So I get the thing, I open it up, and the first thing I notice is the wallet is not the same one that's in the video. The one in the video, and I'm going to put the wallet here, is clearly, it looks more like real leather. This is really bad fake plastic leather. I mean, it's bad. This is dollar store stuff. And I'm going to show you now. It's really thick. Like, I'm holding it in my hand. Look how it stays open. And I'll show you the other side, too. I'm holding it flat. Now, I guess you'd have to press this down with like a press to get it to go completely flat. And I guess if you carry it in your pocket for a really long time, and it opens. Now, here's the thing. You can see on this wallet there, this big giant gap and this big giant gap. You're going to give this to someone to hold? Not me. Mimic leather, I'll say. All right, so let's talk about this. Now, the beginning of the trick of him saying, in here's the answer to a question that hasn't been asked yet. I actually like that as something to say, because it makes you stop for a second. Go, what are you talking about? Wait, it's the answer to something that hasn't, what? It's a good hook. I actually don't mind that. It's a good theatrical hook. And it's something that I could do in a loud bar or in a theater. It's simple. Be like, yo, this is the answer to something that hasn't even been asked yet. Cool? Hold this, right? So I like that. And I love the whole put this in your pocket. But I'm going to be honest. Again, I've gigged for thousands of people. And there are people that are weirdos and like to kind of sabotage what you're doing and won't say anything. So oversized European wallet, I guess. It's not even a checkbook or anything. I'd rather it be a checkbook. So then he does the elimination to the card, and then he does it and the thing and the thing. And, you know, he opens up, and I'll show you the envelopes. The envelope that he pulls out eventually is one of these, and he opens it. And he pulls the card out and he goes, oh, off by one. But I knew it. And then he turns it around. Now, if I'm standing here like this and I just pulled the card out of the, you know, let's just say I said, name any card, and you said it, and I go like this. Take a guess where the heat is. Where is the audience putting all of their heat right now? They see the cards off by one. I go, off by one. Where's all the heat? Where? Here. Right here. All the heat's here. So in the thing, he eventually, you know, he gives them the thing, and I'm like, all right, well, to me, the giving it out is interesting because I don't give mine out. The version I do, I go like this. I pull it out, I show it empty, and I throw the envelope on the floor. I sometimes will crumble it up and throw it. Or I'll crumble it up and throw it in the audience. Depends on the show. But they know that this is empty. And the way I handle it, it's very like, it's just like, it's thin and empty. If you watch the demo video, the envelope doesn't look thin or empty. Now, I'm going to tell you about the envelope. Because the way he does it, he can't just hand it out. And you would think on the video, there'd be a really detailed description on how he switches the envelope. Because he switches it. That's all it is. It's a switch. And the wallet doesn't do the switch. I'm like, wait, maybe he figured out a way to switch it right in front of everybody. Well, in his theory, he would, because the heat is on the off by one and the trick's over, he's able to do a pocket switch. And a pocket switch is literally you go in your pocket and take out the other one. Now, it sounds horrible. Like, oh my God, that's clearly there. But when you do a pocket switch in real life, it's masked by the action of what's going on. And it's done in an offbeat. Now, in the video, he does it in an offbeat on the demo. But he doesn't even mention it or teach it. He just explains it. He goes, oh yeah, and then I just, they're looking at the card and I just do a simple pocket switch. There's nobody watching that video, unless they're a pro, that's going to be able to do that without getting caught. It's just not going to happen. I know it. I know for a fact. If you told me to do it, I know how to do it. I would give it a cover. I'd figure out something. I'd either come up with a joke. I'd make a joke about the marker, that thing, there'd be a reason for it to happen. It would take me a little while to come up with the perfect reason to do a pocket switch for an envelope, but I can do it. I know how to do it. He doesn't teach it on the video. So now you have an army of people doing this trick that are amateurs with an envelope they can't let their friend look at. And that's the other thing. Most people, when they're doing magic, aren't doing it for people they don't know. They're doing it for their friends and colleagues, and they're the worst at it. They're the pickiest. They're gonna let me see that envelope. You know, laymen that are at a gig, they're not as nitpicky. They can be, but they know that you're being paid and you're a professional. They're not gonna dig their claws into you like your friends or family would. The people I entertain for, they will. They'll be like, yo, let me see that. You know, they know. So I was really I was like, okay, wait, he's not even teaching his version of how to switch the envelope other than just do it. Like, I can handle that. That's fine. But I'm like, oh my God, all the people that bought this, they're going to suck for a long time and probably expose the trick to the lay audience. And honestly, giving this to somebody to open, risky. You got to be a master at audience management to give somebody a trick wallet and expect them to open it correctly. Seriously. There's a few ways this opens, and you kind of have to know if they're left-handed or right-handed, how they're going to open it. I don't risk stuff like that when I'm getting paid money to do magic. And if I do, I really put a lot of work into it to make sure it's perfect, not sort of perfect. So this trick, as I'm like watching, I'm like, oh my God, I'll never, ever. I won't even use this. So I ordered it because I knew that even if I didn't do the trick that he's using it for, I'm going to get a Himber wallet. This is a Himber wallet. A good Himber wallet, because in the video, it looks like it's really thin. And I mean thin, like, let me see. It looks like it's like that. Not like that. I mean, this is freaking huge. Look, that's on my hand. It looks like a trick wallet. I mean, it looks weird. It doesn't smell like leather. It smells like oil, like that weird oily plastic smell. There you go. Okay, see, Lou is a better magician than the guy who's putting this stuff out making money. Lou says, and see, Lou, thank you. Lou just did what we do as magicians, and this is why me and Lou or Rick Sherman or any of my friends that we talk on the phone, because when we're problem solving magic, look what Lou did. Write the message in smaller print and go get a magnifying glass so they can read it, and that's when you can switch the envelopes in the same or opposite jacket pocket. You just solved it, right? That's a solution. That's a professional magician solving a problem. You go, oh yeah, it's you said 4 clubs, I got the 5 of clubs. But wait, hold the 5 of clubs. Let me get my magnifying glass. Look on the bottom left corner. When they're looking on the bottom left corner, that's it. You did the switch. And you go, oh, here. You put the card and you go, oh, and I want you to remember. I mean, honestly, like that's literally it. That's how you, it's the sneaky move is built into an actual action. And it's not, I mean, it's a clever idea, but it's practical. You know, it makes sense. It's like, no, it's written small. I'm sorry here. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Now, I've done in my life tricks that are exactly this same plot. Same plot. Verbatim. And there's a chance they'll get the actual card and you can go, oh my God, you got it, the Jack of Clubs. Or if they don't, you go, oh my God, it was the Queen of Clubs? Well, I was off by 1, right? It's going to be one or the other. Take a guess which one gets the bigger applause. The one that's perfect. Now, if you read all of these shows, the descriptions, and even in the video, the guy says that he thinks that the off by 1's a better end. They're crazy. That's not true. I've done it thousands of times. Now, yes, tonality-wise. So I read one of the reviews that somebody wrote. They were like, look, if your whole shtick is you're off by 1 on everything, then that's great. That's kind of a funny running gag where you're like, think of any color, and they're like red, and you're like, oh, I got pink. You know, think of any card, and they're like 4 diamonds, and you're like, oh my God, I got the 5 of diamonds. Right? That's fine. But it's building. And at the end, the grand finale is you do get it right. In this situation, it'd be like, look, I got it off by 1. And then you do it again under a more impossible condition, and then you get it correct, and then you get your standing ovation. You see, it can be used as a building block to a bigger routine, but you don't always get a chance to build many blocks. You know, even when I'm doing a real a gig, you might only get a couple minutes with people. So you got to have your stuff. And you can't sit there and explain for 20 minutes of why you're doing things a certain way. You either do it or your explanation better be pretty, pretty to the point. Now, I'm a fan of where's the heat. Whenever I'm doing a trick, I'm like, where's the heat? What are they thinking of? Like when I was young, and I'll tell you a little secret here. I used to do a trick, and I still do it in my show, where I eat 5 razor blades, and then I eat string, and I thread them. Now, 99.9% of everybody that does that trick, they switch the sharp razor blades for dull ones when they put them in their mouth, right? They should. It's dangerous. And when I was a little kid, I had a version. I'm looking at it. Don't move. I've had this since the early to mid 80s. It's a little folder, and it holds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 razor blades. And you take one out, show it sharp, put it here. Take another one out, show it sharp, put it here. Take another one out, show it sharp, put it here. Then you take all 5, all right, and then you do the trick. Well, there's a switch. Take a guess where the heat is. Where's the heat? On this. Why are you showing them sharp and stacking? Whenever I did this, I felt guilty that I was doing a disservice to the audience, and they knew I wasn't really doing. There's a little switcheroony here. It's one of these, right? You can't, but this don't exist anymore. This is probably valuable. Vest pocket razor blade. So I had a fancier version that did the switch where when you grab them, it does it. Now, I didn't like that either because the heat is in the... If there's any problem in that moment, a little stall, they know how the trick worked. It's ruined. So I thought, my God, I want to learn how to do it for real. So if you see me do it now, I show 5 sharp razor blades, 1 at a time, throw them in my mouth, swallow them, and show my mouth empty. And they're real razor blades, and they really are sharp, and my mouth really is empty. And I don't use a cup or any gadgets. I got rid of, it's just me, a piece of thread, and 5 razor blades. I stick them in a banana or an apple so that you can see them. But I wanted to do it the real way because to me, the audience has heat. I call it the heat. They're heated on something. Like I know a magician who does card palming, and he does it, and he stands really for a long time with a card palm in his hand. And I swear to God, everybody in the audience knows. He doesn't even gesture with it. He doesn't do any moves where, like, I figured out how to move a card so that it's from flat palm to a little bit of a lateral palm so I can show these open and empty. It looks way more free. Why? I wanted to be able to do it so that the heat's gone. If you're standing there with your hand like this for too long, it's like, okay, he's hiding something. I hate it when somebody makes something disappear and then they keep this hand closed for a long time. It's like, well, everybody wants to see. They're all like, let me see that hand. So I'm constantly trying to think, what are they thinking? How are they feeling? Where do they think the secret lies? And then I build the routine to cancel it out. Now, a little note on, okay, let me just read something here. In the trick, in the presentation, the climax of the trick is the off by 1. He goes, it builds. He goes, oh, here it is. And it was off by 1. I knew it. I got that right? It's like a ha-ha, but it's not that great. You didn't get it right. It's like a half measure. And the denouement of the trick is he goes, oh, I'm going to put my business card in here, the card itself, and here, this is so you can think about it. That's the denouement. That's great. But as a store-bought trick, I'm paying for two things. I'm paying for the trick wallet, which this is garbage. It's garbage. I'll never use this. And I'm paying to see his routining and his thinking behind the routining. And I learned nothing. Nothing. If this is a routine for a professional, you're not going to learn anything. If you're a beginner, this is a terrible version of the card to the envelope. There are so many better ways to do it. Chronologue, Collector's Workshop, way better. But okay, so, I mean, honestly, here's a famous trick that's been around forever. I'm not going to say what it is. I don't really use this. I have. Here's a pack of cards. 75 is a high price. These days, no. A lot of tricks are in the 150 range, 200 range for something that's just a 1-second trick. I swear to God. Nowadays, it's not like that. In the old days, that would have been a lot. But now, not really. Somebody, red or black. Throw out there, red or black. It could be red or black. Just say red or black. The first person to write red or black, I'm going with it. In the chat. And then after that, it's going to be diamond, heart, clubs, or spades. So let's see if it's red or black. And I will put this. Can you see this? I'll put it on the lava lamp. I'm so used to doing Zoom shows where it's instant. Where on here there is a delay. You know what? The hell with the red or black. Oh, red. Fallon, red. All right, red. All right, hearts or diamonds? And then we'll see. So the trick I'm going to do, to me, is very similar in plot. Well, black is too late. We got, Fallon said red first. Now we're going to go hearts or diamonds. For me, this is way more streamlined. Diamond. All right. Now, do we have a number diamond or is it a picture diamond? Number or picture? Tell me. I'm curious. Notice I'm not taking this out of frame. I'm just going to hold this here. Nope. Hearts is too late. Ruth said diamond. I'm just going who's first. So I see red. I see diamond. I want to see numbers or pictures. And we'll know in a second. Once we get that, we're going to narrow it down to a card. I just want to mention something. It's funny. I took a card out right before I started tonight, and I hope this works. And I reversed it and shuffled it. And I'll show it to you in a second. Number. What number? Tell me the number. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it will be a diamond. Right? Was diamond? Yeah, diamond. So whoever writes the first number in there, that will be the selection. Go. So I haven't taken this out of frame. And in a second, I'm going to open the box. 5, 4, 3, 2. Someone wrote, fight me. They're having a debate. Someone got to give me a number. Come on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of diamonds. 9! The 9 of diamonds. Look. I'm getting goosebumps. I mean, really, anybody could have chimed in. This was not Ruth, make sure they know this was not planned in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to open this up really slow. See the cards? Look. You're going to love this. There's one in here that you're going to notice that's reversed. And I'm going to take it out nice and slow and show you that it's the 9 of diamonds. Now, if you're a magician, you know what I just did. It's an amazing trick. It's been around forever. My mentor, Jeff Sheridan, who I hear is not doing so right now, this guy, very famous for Central Park performing. He told me when I was younger working in magic shops to stop selling that trick. He's like, don't sell that trick. It's a stream. There's no heat on anything. It's a pack of cards. You know, you could be doing card tricks and then you just go, hey, you know, think of a card. Or you could reverse one and go, here, I'm going to shuffle these. Name the card. It's so straight ahead. You could do it in a loud thing. You don't have to sit there and explain the system of them picking it. You don't have to do any double talk. It's very straight up. And anybody can learn that. That's an easy trick to learn. Why is that not better than the other? Well, it's only better because he's selling tricks to magicians and they've seen the other and they're bored of it and they showed their family already. And it's old and no one cares. But it's a better trick. And in the same light, it's almost in the audience's mind the same trick. I could give them the deck of cards and go, here, put this in your pocket. Imagine one of them flipping over. Which one did you imagine flip over? And there it is. It's the same thing without any hiding or it's like very straight up. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get the industry of selling tricks to people that buy magic tricks every week. I used to be in the magic shop working, selling tricks to people, and it made me go crazy. Because I'm trying to like create magic that I mean, I'm getting paid to do it, but I also gift it. I mean, I'm doing magic for people whenever they want, really. And like, I want it. That's not my trick. I mean, that one, what you just saw me do is a very easy, popular magic trick. And I like it. I don't hate it. And I will use it occasionally. I use that more for if I screw up, that's a good out. That's a good save. But I don't really use that. I have another version where it does end up in an envelope and I pull it out. I do have a version and I've been doing it for years and I'm still going to stick to my version. I learned nothing from the Trick Wallet version at all. Nothing. Now I could send this back, but I held on to it so I could do this. I'll use it as a teaching tool of what not to do, which is why I wanted to do this video. I don't like that there's this industry that just makes tricks for the hobbyists. And they make it seem like, oh, I'm going to give you a couple examples. Like for instance, here's a trick. It's a very expensive trick. I'm not going to show you what it is, but when you open it up, the box lights up. Now, when I saw this, I'm like, why would you make the box for the trick fancy? Why? No professional magician cares that it's got a nice box. None. What's that trick's name? You mean the one that I just did? I will not utter its name on TV. I will PM you, though, because I know you. There was a book that came out 8 years ago. Andy Nyman, who's a professional actor, magician. It was a $250 book, and it was his material. So the reviews were like, yo, you got to get this. It's worth if there's a book that's $300 and I'm going to get one cool thing out of it, I'll pay it. If I'm going to learn one little bit of misdirection or a trick I already do with a new ending, to me, it's worth that money. I'm going to pay the artist to learn a trade secret. I have things that I do in my show I know other magicians would benefit from. And one day I might release it to them. But I bought the book, and I remember that it said that it came with props in the book, like inside that you can use. And one of the tricks in the book is you have someone come up from the audience, and there's two chairs, and you go, oh, which chair do you want to sit in? And they sit, and you go, oh, look, there's an envelope underneath, take it off. And they open it up, and it says, you will sit in this chair. So it's like, oh. And you go, oh, I know, you want to see the other chair if it has an envelope. And you show it and you go, it does. And you open it and it says, you will not sit in this chair. So the trick came with the cards that say, you will sit in the chair and you will not sit in the chair. There's no gimmick to those. They're just plain cards that say that. It didn't even come with the gimmick envelope that has both of them in each envelope. It didn't even come with that. You'd think it came with the envelope that you can open one way, it has one card, and the other way, it didn't come with that. It just came with the cards. Now, why would he do that? Why would they put them in there? You're that lazy that you can't write it with a Sharpie? I think it looks better with a Sharpie. It looks more real, like you wrote it on there and stuck it on, like a real, like somebody gonna read your mind would do, right? You're not gonna have these prepared special cards. I ended up reading the book. I basically learned nothing. Half the book are pictures of him doing his acting stuff and like making mugging photos and flipping the bird and trying to act cool. And I'm like, dude, I just want the material. And I spent $250 for a fluff book of material no one will use. Really. And then the reviews were crazy. The best book ever. Exactly. You could create those cards. Why are you including it? Lame. So when I see people doing that, it irritates me because it's like you're giving this false sense of professionalism to a young person learning magic. It's false. It's not the real thing. It's not the art form of it at all. It's actually bad thinking breeding bad behavior. I'd much rather it not be anything and simple. You don't need much to do magic. You really don't. You need good ideas. It is kind of ego guard. Dude, I wish I had the guy's book, I'd show it to you. You open it up and the whole first chunk is pictures of him acting in movies and stuff that he gets parts in. That it's weird. I mean, if I wrote a book on just my magic that I've come up with, all right, put a picture of me playing in my band on the back cover or on the, in flap or whatever. But I don't need a whole chapter on my music career in there. Like anybody cares, They just want to see the tricks. And honestly, that's all I would be doing is like, yo, I've been doing these for years and here's how I gain something out of them. You might too. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to do this today. Now, let me ask, did any of this, was this informative? I'm curious if you're watching this, if this made any sense, especially if you're not a magician. I wanted you to see, like, I have a couple tricks that took me years to figure out how to pull it off. Like, I wanted to make this jug of water appear in my show. And I knew when it was coming, and I knew what it was going to be in, but I didn't know how I was going to sneak the jug of water in. And it took me a solid year of experimenting to come up with a solution. It took a full year. It's me working backwards. I didn't have anywhere to buy. I didn't have anything to buy. I didn't have anywhere to look. I just had to problem solve. After you know enough about magic, you can do that. That's the art form. When I'm on the phone with my magic friends, that's what we're thinking about. That's literally what we're thinking about. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about problem solving using our skill set we already have. And I will learn a new skill if it's needed. I don't learn a skill without it having an application. It would be a waste of my time. And I tell that to people all the time. If you're going to learn something that's hard to do, make it, you have to have a reason or else you're wasting your time. I mean, the trick, when I do my card productions, that took forever, but it was worth it. I knew I was going to get a lot out of it because I'd seen it used live by other performers and they loved it. Yeah, I was very careful on my technique explaining tonight. I didn't want to give away my stuff. I mean, really, I have things that I've been using in my show for many, many years. And the technique is coupled with psychology and how it's laid out, the plot. So you have the plot, the story, and then there's the psychology of it, of how it's going to work and how they're thinking about it. And then there's the technicals. And if I have to over justify the psychology to cover for the technical, that's a red flag. If I have some awkward prop that I have to spend 20 minutes justifying, that's a red flag. I'm looking for red flags and getting rid of them. I don't want any red flags. One of my pet peeves in magic, and if you know me, you've heard me say this before, but I don't like character-driven magic. And I'll explain that. Fallon wrote, I like the emphasis on jazz fundamentals and the need to make tricks to yourself. All right, so check this out. I found a good analogy for magic. Magic is jazz. You're playing a jazz song, but that's what the audience sees. They see a jazz song, but that's not what's going on. It's actually a classical piece, scored all the way, every note precisely chosen. That's the reality. The fictional is it's jazz and you're free flowing. So how do you make a classical song look like you're just free flowing? Now you know why real magic is hard. And now you know why most magicians suck, because they can't make it look like that. It looks like a classical piece, and it is. There's a magician, I'm not going to name names, but when they do their tricks, it sounds like they are speaking patter. And they rehearsed their patter that they are saying to their audience. And if they get hung up, they have to start over. It would look like you are speaking. Let me start over again. They literally start over the patter like it's a script. I've seen it happen. You just lost the crowd. You just ruined everything. You literally ruined the notion that they're sitting there watching a live magician. Now they're watching an entertainer actor, not a magician. You'll hear me say this all the time. Magic's real. It is real. It's not fake. It's real. And if you're making it fake, you're ruining it. I present my magic in real time as a reality. If I say I'm going to get the card, it really does happen. There's no suspension of disbelief. If they're suspending disbelief, you're not a magician. Now, the reason why I don't like character-driven magic is it ruins that little equation I just spelled out. You're asking them now to pretend that you're somebody else. And then under that guise, you're doing this thing in real time. It, to me, is a philosophical blunder. It doesn't mean it's impossible to make it work. I prefer the other for a myriad of reasons. But one is it's what they want to see. It's what they want. You're fulfilling their fantasy of meeting a real magician who devoted their life to learning weird and arcane things. And they're going to watch you do it live. They don't want to go, oh, this guy's an actor pretending like he learned weird and arcane things. No, it's the opposite. They want to see it. So give it to them. You know, I always say you got to do some of the stereotypes. You got to kind of satisfy it. You know, the crazy card flicking and the, people know that magicians can fling cards around, right? They're able to, have the skill. Oh, let me do this right. They're able to have the skill with a pack of cards where they can catch. I almost did two there. Where they can catch cards. These are horrible. These are dead. But, like this here. A lot of people know magicians can do this. Whoa, these are terrible. I don't know why I'm doing it. These are dead cards. But, like, this stage picture, people have seen people do it. So if you do, you go, oh, my God, that really is real. That really happened. I saw it in a cartoon, but you just did it for real. Wow. That's what they want. They don't want it to be, schmaltzy and fake. They want their mind read, so read it, And if you're doing it under a weird character, then that's not real. That's not good. I like it when people ask me, I'll walk out dressed the way I dress. And they'll go, do you really comb your hair like that? Are those sideburns real? And I'm like, of course they're real. What are you, dumb? Why would I have fake sideburns? And then they're like, oh, wow, you really are real. to me, that's it. I am real. I'm not like I'm not an actor. Okay, so Piff, all right. Piff the Magic Dragon. All right, there's a good example. There's somebody who figured out how to make it work. He's playing a character, but it's almost like it's real. I mean, he's this kooky guy dressed in this terrible outfit. And I think that his terrible, goofy dragon outfit is kind of what gives it the tonality of it all. Now, I will say some of his tricks are really good. You know, if you're going to be in character, then that means your magic has to be even more impossible, in my opinion. And he is. His tricks are good. He did pretty well on America's Got No Talent. He did pretty good on there. And I remember his tricks were pretty good. I think they helped him come up with some of those tricks. I could be wrong. I think that show does that. You know, magicians know, or a layman know, that magicians can fan cards. You know, they know that we can fan cards. They also know that we hide things up our sleeves so that when you roll your sleeves up and do this, they're even more impressed. So if I'm doing this trick right now, like this, and I'm like this, right? And I'm making cards appear, right? Right? Watch. And while they're appearing, I do this. I'm eliminating from their mind a possibility of where they're hiding. Oop. I'm not doing well right now. Let me just move these. So anywho, I'm just throwing crap everywhere. You have to satisfy their notion of what magicians can do and then take it above and beyond. All the while showing them that it's real and you really are this weird guy who does all these crazy gambling things and, you know, all of the... I do a lot of the gambling stuff. Okay, here's an example. Well, okay, stage magic to me can be good, but a lot of people rely on, you know, trick boxes. And you know, I'm going to be honest. I do a giant girl in the trick box trick and she disappears and reappears. They're a lot harder than it would seem to pull off. There's a lot of subtle things that could easily make those things a disaster. So the same type of attention I'm doing to these tricks here, a good stage magician will apply it to the girl in the box bit. The same type of thinking. I did it to mine. I basically do the trick so they think the person's hiding in a certain spot, and then I reveal it not to be. You know, you are a director. You're not misdirecting, you're directing. You're shaping where their brain's going. You know, you're the one in charge. And you don't want to make them necessarily think you're in charge. Sometimes you have to make it think they're in charge. And that's why when you know what I know and have been experimenting, and I really mean experimenting. To me, my life has been experimenting on people, how these things work. When you watch commercials, or you watch politicians of how they word things, or you watch any kind of advertisement. This is all part of it. This all gets taken into consideration. You want them to think they're making decisions. That's why suggesting is more powerful than telling. You suggest it, and then they take the chance. They take the piece. Wow. Whew. All right, I'm out of breath. That was a whirlwind of me talking. And I hope you got a lot out of tonight. I don't recommend this trick, The Prophecy. I do recommend his books, Card College. If anybody ever wants to learn sleight of hand technique in a pretty clear and concise manner, Roberto Giobbi's Card College books, primo. I don't even own them. I've read them all cover to cover because I used to work in magic shops. And I've owned volume 1 and 2, and I ended up giving them away. I didn't really need them for reference, and I gave them away to people. They're good books. So I don't want to shit on Roberto's work. I mean, he did a lot. That's a big deal. And he won the 4Fs convention, whatever that is. That's the, it's the elite sleight of hand guys having their little soiree convention where they perform for each other. Yeah, it's great. That's fine. It's fine. I don't care about that stuff. I feel bad when somebody orders this in the mail, a kid, a teenager who wants to learn magic, and he's got to figure out how to make this work. Not going to happen. God, it smells horrible. I like real leather. And that's the moral of the story. I like real leather. It smells good. Folks, I hope you had a good time tonight. I love talking about magic. I really do. I don't do it on my other show too much. Magic is something that's been a part of my life ever since I was that big. I pay my bills with it. I use it in my daily life. It's my passion, my desire, my drive, my art form that I've chosen to study in detail. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Without an audience, I got nothing. The 4 Fs. Yeah. That the other 4 Fs, fight, flee, and friend. That's right. That's the basal ganglia. That's the lizard brain. And it's funny because I use those in my magic technique too. Yes. I did a whole episode on my other show on that. How to get someone to like you in 1 second. There's a science to it. And then once they like you, how do you hold their attention? There's a science to it. And if you want to know that kind of stuff, watch my other show, Evening Hour Live. It's every Monday unless something's going on. And I'm up to episode 103. If you're new to this channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notify, tell your friends. I'm trying to get to 1,000. It's near damn impossible. They basically shadow ban you until you get to 1,000. So any help, oh, well, there you go. Somebody just, Future Monsters, grazie, grazie, grazie. Thank you. Someone just tipped me. It means a lot. So, in the meantime, tips are great, but spread the word. I really try to put a lot of thought into these episodes. I don't want them to be fluff. And I want everybody watching to take something out of it. Maybe it makes you look at your own magic. Maybe it gets you to look at all of these techniques I kind of described and apply it to something else. Thank you, Ruby. Bill Yon. Bill Yon got it. Fight, flight, fright, and sex. Yeah, friend is in there too. Friend is part of the lizard brain. It's like, it's not necessarily friend. It's more like, are you cool? All right, you're cool. Could be indifference. I think a lizard's more indifferent. Wow, folks. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Ruby, Eric, Lou, Jason, everybody in here who supports this channel. Really, I'm not kidding. Thank you. I'm shocked that I have an audience. Mama, thank you for watching. I'll call you soon, Mama, for our shopping day. My mom was there when I started as a little kid. She'll tell you I was very young showing magic tricks to her and the neighbors. And like that, I was doing shows for the neighborhood. I knew at an early age you had to apply it quick because that's where you learn. You can spend all day in your bedroom performing for stuffed animals, but you really have to show people. The Pharaoh Shuffle. My God. The Pharaoh Shuffle, my favorite. You know, it's funny. Before I go, I'll do one Pharaoh Shuffle. I learned how to Pharaoh Shuffle because I wanted to be able to do this, which my mentor always did, and I thought it was beautiful. Yeah, that's why I learned to Pharaoh Shuffle. Folks, you rule. My name is Cardone. You're watching Cardone Entertainment. This is Magic Method Rant. This is the first one I've ever done. I'm going to do more of these, I think. It was kind of fun. Thank you. Party on, everybody. And I'll take you out with my trailer. I don't really have an outro trailer for this, but I'll take you out.
Seven? Thank God I can do magic, everybody.